As a young engineer caring for the planet, I'm very worried about the future of humanity. As a Rotarian, I'm committed to be part of the solution. Imagine, it is now 2050. There is more plastics than fish in our oceans. Would you turn the clock back to today? The moment of history where you had the chance to make a difference. Okay, I know what you're thinking deep inside. After all, we are all in the same boat. If you could really travel back in time, I would go back 10 years ago and buy all the Bitcoins. But that's not the point here, that's not the point. Today, I would like to invite you and your club to join me in taking very simple steps and create a sustainable future for ourselves, for our children, and their children. Did you realize that we eat over 39,000 pieces of plastics every single year? That's about the size of a credit card worth of plastic every single week. Anyone thinking about having fish for dinner tonight? We're probably better off just drinking like fish instead. How do you feel about the 1.8 million people that we are letting die every single year due to poor access to clean water? 1.8 millions. It's more than Rotarians and Rotaractors all combined. When I say plastic tide, the first image which comes into your mind is a plastic bottle. But very few people are aware of microplastics. With microplastics, you can swim, but you can't tide. Did you get that one? You can't tide. Oh yes, that's okay, it's early in the morning. Now, I know it sounds fishy, but most of microplastics in the environment actually comes from your clothing, construction materials, or the rubber on your tire. Once in the water, the plastic particle can absorb other contaminants, such as fuel or heavy metals. Contaminants will then bind on the surface of the plastic that makes them potentially more harmful to animals that eat them. Microplastics also act as a micro-ecosystem where the harmful bacteria will be able to survive instead of being naturally destroyed within the salty environment. Once it becomes part of the food chain, you will find microplastics literally everywhere, from the skin of your apple to the salt that you put on your French fries. Now, I will take a minute so that everyone has time to digest this news. I mean, it's kind of a very big deal, and I think it's actually time that we address the elephant seal in the room. You ready? Okay, French fries are not actually French. It actually, believe it or not, it actually comes from Belgium. I know, it sounds like if an Australian would be saying that a koala bear would actually have all the qualification to be classified as a bear. It just won't happen. And I know that I don't want to rock your boat here, and pardon my French, but I can be quite emotional when it comes to French Australian food. Talking about Australian food, how many of you are going to the RICON convention in Melbourne next year? Alright, for all of the ones who have their hands raised, I've got a challenge for you. Does anyone know about Vegemite? Yeah? Cool. So, Chris, this is for you. In one word, how can you qualify what's the taste of Vegemite? Yeah. One word, I said. Alright. Salt. I think it's 70% salt, and it's so salty that there is no due date on the package. I had friends who have been eating the same box for over 3 decades. It lasts so long that the legends say that there are only 2 things that will outlast humans if we ever destroy the planet. The first one would be microplastics, the second one would be Vegemite. So Chris, I give you the challenge to make everyone to give it a try before the convention. You see, while plastics is tangible, you can see it, you can feel it, you can see it with your own eyes. On the other thing, plastic is only the visible tip of the iceberg, representing all the issues that humans have brought upon our planet. From coral bleaching, ocean yeah. Alright, now that makes sense. Alright, from coral bleaching, ocean acidification, ice melting, intensive fish farming. Thank you. Chemical, pesticides, oil, noise, and light pollution. Overfishing. Ghost fishing. Sea temperature rise. Offshore mining and drilling. Habitat destruction, trawling, and poisoning. And the creation of dead zones. And I could keep going like this for hours, but I'm sure you have bigger fish to fry. So, look, some of you actually went cold fish, and please don't cry in the ocean while on board because I don't want to sing. But don't get dragged down by all these problems. The world is your oyster. There is an ocean opportunity, so don't miss the boat and treat every single day as your opportunity to make this world a better place. What if, with very little effort, your zone 28 and 32 could be part of the solution? Did you know that Bermuda has the northern mangrove in the world? And this conference is your opportunity to discover innovative ways to restore mangroves and reduce pollution. And today we will explore 3 solutions that your clubs can undertake to help Rotary's mission to save the oceans. To find solutions to all these issues, the first thing you can do is educate people about the importance of our oceans. And more importantly, you can educate yourself. We launched in 2020 the Ocean Innovators series of weekly videos and podcasts. The concept is very simple. Every week we want to promote one solution which is helping our oceans. And trust me, there are plenty of fish in the sea. And I know it may sound like a drop in the ocean, but the goal is to focus on what people can do locally and still have a global impact. The second thing you can do is adopt a river or beach and monitor it. You can help support locals, restaurants, and shops to switch to sustainable alternatives. You can also undertake cleanups as a short-term fix, while your long-term focus is to define which pollution is actually impacting the river and figuring out how to stop it at its sources. The third action you can focus on is planting mangroves. An alarming 50% of mangrove forests have disappeared over the past 50 years. When mangroves are destroyed, they release as much as 10% of carbon emissions worldwide, attributable to deforestation. Mangroves grow in 118 countries and are particularly efficient at keeping carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. They are home to vital species in the blue carbon ecosystem, acting as a fish nursery and help preventing coastal erosion, as well as maintaining high water quality. So today, the threat of mangroves is the conversion of land into other uses, such as agriculture, aquaculture, urban development, and infrastructure. The northern mangroves in the world are located in Bermuda, while the southern mangroves in the world are located in Melbourne, the place where we will be holding the next Rotary International Convention in 2023. So this year, as much as 40 million mangrove trees have died of thirst in South Australia. So in Melbourne, we've been experimenting innovative ways to restore mangroves for years. Mangrove plants show a higher survival rate when it grows in nursery for 9 months. When 6 to 8 leaves start to grow, they are ready to be planted. Over the year, we tried multiple approaches, such as using milk packs, all covered with plastics, but it didn't work very well, and it was discontinued because it restricts the roots to grow for the plant. So the current plantation technique uses a bamboo stick with a rubber band, and the previous approaches have been the three that are being outlined in the picture. So you've got the first one, which was a tube of plastics, but that would restrict the roots of the mangrove to grow. Same for the concrete. You can see in the concrete you have holes which let the water come in, so that helps the mangrove to have the flow of water, so the water doesn't get stuck in the middle of the concrete, and the water doesn't warm up. But the problem is it restricts the roots of the plant. So we came up with this innovative approach, which is a different type of shape, which allows the mangrove to grow their roots. And we've got also the problem of what we call ring barking, which is the shape of the edge of the concrete pipe needs to be a little bit smoother so it doesn't cut the plant. And that's been working very well. So depending on the surrounding environments, you can create wave breakers, use bamboos, and even discarded oyster cages, which will act as a barrier. And over the world, there are numerous clubs working on innovative solutions to re-establish mangroves, such as planting trees, undertaking cleanups, improving the flow of water, like in the Bahamas, removing invasive species, and as well as going through education. Now, I know that Liz, Merlin, Bernard will be talking a little bit further about nature-based solutions for water, which are often 90% cheaper than engineering solutions, such as artificial reefs or concrete barriers, to prevent coastal erosion. So nature-based solutions are actually have the best success rate and are cheaper, so it's quite worth considering. Now, this Saturday, you will have a unique opportunity to work on pollution prevention and mangrove restoration. So the features group, from what I've understood, will be undergoing some heavy lifting, probably using some chainsaw apparently, to cut invasive species at the Lagoon Park for the mangrove service project, while the others will head off to the Glass Beach to undertake a more simple cleanup service project. And if you have any question, I'm sure you can ask on which project you can participate. So let's see what a mangrove planting actions looks like. You should have sound for that. Yeah, that's good. Did I motivate you to plant mangroves in Bermuda? Now, let me tell you the story behind this video. Like often, I was returning from speaking at a centenary Rotary District conference when they announced out of the blue a one-week stay-at-home lockdown circuit breaker. So I ended up stuck doing camping in this incredible remote rainforest surrounded by mangroves. At first, I really felt out of the water because yeah, but by the end of the first week, I was actually convinced that every animal had conspired against me to get rid of me. From snakes, spiders, mosquitoes, you name it, they all wanted a piece of me. Long story short, they extended the restriction for another week. And another week, and another week. And I ended up camping for 6 months until they finally lifted the COVID restriction. C'est la vie. Now, what happened next is extraordinary. Has anyone has watched on Netflix My Octopus Teacher? Déjà vu? Well, I could have called my story My Mangrove Teacher. You see, at that time, I was in a very dark place. But the forest actually took care of me and healed me. Everything was there, right in front of me. Mangoes, lychees, tomatoes, you name it. Bon appetit. Believe it or not, the forest provided nearly everything I needed during that lockdown. And at that point, I finally understood how each animal relied on one another. All I had to do was to listen. So, if the technical team is here, I'm going to kindly ask to drop down the light a little bit, and I have a little game for you. Are you ready? Perfect. So, if we manage to get the light down, otherwise we will do it imagining the light is getting darker. So, the people on the first row, I have a mission for you. So let's say the first row is the first set of table, okay? So if you're sitting on the first row, you will be the waves, okay? All right? The one sitting at the back, to the back table, you will be the trees, okay? For those in the middle, I have a bunch of roles for you. So you have the choice, so raise your hand if you can whistle. Yeah, couple of whistlers, yeah, good. So great, you guys will be playing the birds. And finally, I need you to choose, everyone else to choose between the crabs and the fish, okay? Alright? That's the easy ones, okay? Alright. So let's train each group individually to see how you perform. So let's start with the easy one, the waves, okay? Alright, so try to produce the sound after me, okay? Well done. Well done. Now, I want to hear the wind passing through the mangrove trees that our Rotarians have just planted. They grew, so they've planted a while ago, but they've planted them. So to make that sound, breathing like if you were whistling. Your turn. Alright, so we've got trees and waves, that's good. Now, let's go and see the birds. So for the birds, the noise of the bird is going to be... that's why I'm not a bird, I'm more a fish, but you already know that. Alright, I've got a couple of birds here. they really like those trees, the mangrove trees that you just planted. And now I need a couple of fish jumping out of the water. So to make that sound, I need you to use your finger and actually place, it's a little bit technical, actually place your finger inside your mouth and do a plop, okay? Alright? I need more fish, come on. I'm not kidding, it was the actual real sound. Alright. And finally, the rest of the people who don't have a role assigned, you're going to be the crabs. Okay? So for the crabs, it's the easiest one is... So just imagine thousands of blue soldier crabs walking in the sand. Alright. Now, I want each and every one of you to close your eyes, okay? No exception. Joe, it also applies to you. It applies to all the big fish actually, so no cheating and don't give me the fish guy, okay? Alright, I think the coast is clear now. You can all close your eyes and breathe in and breathe out. We'll now bring each instrument one by one. Don't get too excited, okay? Alright, so I'll play, hopefully. Is this playing the sound? Do you want me to play the sound with my laptop? Yeah, good idea. Sorry, technical issues. Can you get the sound working? I'm losing people here, come on. The fish are getting too excited. Sound. Alright, we'll do without the sound, otherwise. And I'll try with my laptop otherwise. Okay, alright, let's go back in the situation. Huh? Alright, so let's see if it works. So, here comes a wave. Then I can hear the wind in those trees. And the birds. And then the fish. And let's finish with those tiny little crabs. Now keep going, take a few more minutes. You can now, in your own time, open your eyes. Well done, team. I've recorded the best selfie in Rotary's history. Congratulations. This is what happens when Rotarians are working together. So by now, you must have understood how the forests act as a nursery for all kinds of species. And mangrove also act as a barrier against cyclones and erosion. So if the video is playing here. So over my 6 months living in the forest, I shooted the Ocean Innovators podcast, focusing on the mangrove restoration. The series was then displayed at COP26. Yeah. Yeah, we're good? Okay. So you can see the erosion prevention through the video. It really acts as a barrier. Cool. Alright. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you. So the series of videos were then displayed at the COP26 in Glasgow, where we showcased successful Rotary mangrove projects in Commonwealth countries. And one of the videos was selected for the high-level ministerial meeting on mangroves hosted by President Shekhar Mehta and attended by the Commonwealth Secretary General and environmental ministers from 7 countries. And it was decided that Rotary would start funding this year at least a minimum of 10 mangrove restoration projects around the world. Congratulations. And this is another stepping stone into bringing the environment into Rotary as a seventh area of focus. So what does it mean for your club? Well, that's your opportunity to grow Rotary. You can apply to international global grants, and I recommend each one of you to reach out to Chris Potter sitting right over there, who can help you to shape up the new generation of sustainable projects. And he will, but at the condition you try the Vegemite first, okay? How many people in this room would actually agree that starting an environmental project is your opportunity to attract new young Rotarians into Rotary? Do you realize that we are at the point of history when more and more young people want to be engaged with the environment? When we're not actually busy taking selfies, Rotary can be an exceptional opportunity for young people. But we actually need people like you to encourage them to making waves. So when will your club be part of the solution? You can get started today. All you have to do is click on that link or take a selfie, take a picture, sorry, and you'll find all the information you need to get started with your club. And I'll upload further information during that cruise ship, okay? Including those slides. Now, I will give you 2 seconds to write this down, and you'll have the, oh, some people still taking pictures, okay, 2 more seconds, cool. All right. It's easy to remember, huh? Okay, perfect. Okay, you can also take a picture of the link here, if you missed it. Huh? So, the environment has become our 7th area of focus. Rotarians around the world are part of the solution to the environmental crisis now. So join us and empower your own network with proven, positive, and impactful solution protecting our planet. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a well of a time, and I thank you for all your good, for all your love, and thank you for the selfie.